Oh, hello, beautiful beings. It's Linda Simpson here from Neutralizing with Love. And I came here today, spontaneously rather, to talk about rules and how rules, wow, can make our life really hard. Some rules make it easy, other rules are about trust. And this is all my opinion, you know that. There's no rule about what I say. But there are some rules that make life work for humans. And those rules we can just make an intention to keep. Because if you go against some rules, other humans might think that you're a bad person. So, speeding. There are just rules that make living here as a human easy. The rules I'm talking about are the ones where you've made them perhaps from childhood memories, from being raised amongst disciplinarians, from ways that you've managed to keep life moving when life's been a little difficult. And it was a little while back that I just started looking at the rules that made my life work. And I know through times of probably depression and anxiety, we create small rules which are controlling factors that help us to make a day work, to make 5 minutes work, to make an hour work. I'm not dismissing any of that. I'm just saying there are times when you can look at a rule and you could go, that has no place in my world anymore. And some of mine have been very interesting. I was raised as I was the third daughter. The other children after me were sons. And so pretty much in a really strong family, I was the bottom of the pack because, sons were more valued. And I was the youngest daughter. So I wrote myself a story of being a pleaser. Pretty much I would have grown into it, I would say. And that in itself creates rules. I'm not saying my pleaser personality hasn't brought me a great life, because I went ahead and moved into roles where being a pleaser and a happy, outgoing, joyful person, those roles were valued. They valued those parts of me. But if you make it your whole life, then your life becomes other people's, I suppose. And so I was looking at the rules that I brought through from there, where I would say yes when I meant to say no, or where I just didn't know how to say no. And so in learning how to be me, how to be Linda, I had to learn and understand more about, wow, what rules didn't belong in my life anymore. And so what rules did I change? That's really a place to have a look at. Well, one of the ones was I had spent, 20 years as a vegetarian, and probably longer, I would say 30 years, as a person who advocated all things natural, and it was at a time, when I started, it was at a time when natural products weren't available, and if they were, they probably smelt funny, because they were generated by people who reacted to every scent, to everything that was on earth at that time. And I completely understand that. And so I followed that rule that I established for myself with all of the perfectionism of a Scorpio, which is who I am. And it's funny when you're traveling and when you're in places where the idea of food is a big chunk of steak and maybe some potatoes and 2 lettuce leaves that get left on the plate. Using the V word at all in those places is almost catastrophic. They go into panic mode. And I mean, I have been in some places where all they needed to do was create something gentle and happy for me, especially restaurants. I remember one Christmas dinner I went with some friends, well, we did as a couple, and the Christmas lunch was one of those high-priced places that you went because it was supposed to be awesome. And I had pumpkin gnocchi was, I think, my Christmas meal. Yay. It was disappointing. So I've actually released the rule of vegetarianism, and I've called it choositarian, whatever word you want to choose. And I actually listen to my body. And if the meal, if I'm out and about, which hasn't happened a lot in the last while, but the meals that I choose, it's quite funny. I'm able to share any animal product that is unwanted, and I don't have to go through the fight with and that part of that rule is not heart driven. And I have always felt that everything we do should be. It's a rule that I'll stick by. Heart driven and responses to veganism and vegetarianism. It's melding, but still behind it there's an angst, a guilty feeling of eating lamb, so I just go ahead and I don't. I just won't watch cooking programs where they talk about veal. It hurts my heart. So, there's ways to go around these rules. Have I gotten off track? No. I'm just saying, I have also, part of that conversation that I started there was using natural products in my home. And only recently have I discovered, because I have always ordered these natural products from natural product companies, and I'm tunnel visioned, I don't even see them in the supermarket. I just don't. And for some reason, I opened up my blinkers just a tiny bit, and I saw that the supermarket actually has nice smelling natural products available, and they've answered all of the things that were why I started using natural products. And that lifting of that small rule, where I opened up my vision just a tiny bit, was amazing. So I now do have different hand soaps in my house, and I do have different toilet and bathroom products and laundry products to try them out. I've relaxed, and I really feel that element of relaxing on a level that's not catastrophic or hurtful, it opens me up to relax about other things. So have a think about that. Where is your rule? Where is there a rule that you've made that holds you in a place? And when you see it, don't make it a job, for goodness sake. When you see a rule that you find illogical or maybe related to your 2-year-old self, then look at how you can just edge it out or love it a bit more, or just alter a bit. I mean, if you can dump it, for sure, dump it, but don't make life hard by doing that. To me, when I don't know how to make a change, and this is one of my secret weapons, I have in my Imagineer land, which is a landscape of mine, my Imagine world, I have this thing I call a love bubble box. And if I don't know how to handle something, I'll pop it in the box, and it just gets loved up. And every now and then it'll come out and I'll go, oh, that. So you can try the love bubble box. Other people make it a gift box. It's yours when you get there. But when I am considering change and I haven't got an immediate heartfelt response, because I do not want to do change with a rampant response or a reactive way. I really, really want to do change with my love and with my heart and with my clear side and my shine. So if it hasn't come to me like that, then I'll just go, okay, you haven't baked properly yet. It's a term I use to help me with my thoughts. You can go into the love bubble box, which lives, I'm in opposite to you, but it lives in the right-hand side of my mindscape, and I just pop it there. And when it comes out ready, it just flows into my reality, and it's awesome. So what are some other little rules that you have decided that maybe come through from your childhood, that maybe come through from your motherhood or your fatherhood, or just come through from school? Amazing how many things, when you just look at them just a little bit, just lift the curtain a little bit on them, you can see how they don't really serve you anymore. Now, I'm not expecting this to be a really, really big thing. I don't want it to be. There's too many other things in the world that dump on top of you and make you feel less than. I just want you to see a little way to gain more freedom in your thought patterning, a way to gain more freedom in your actions, and a way where maybe you're not judging yourself and others as harshly. And that to me is special. Another thing that the rules that I put upon myself have shifted has been how I integrate with others. As an empath and a heart-driven person, it's often the little things that hurt my heart, and I don't actually maybe see them, but I see them and I think it hasn't landed harshly on me. But I am hurt by the many little things out there. I'm hurt by somebody on social media saying how harshly they handled a spider, or how horrible geckos are, or these little small things that make our earth work. And I see them, so it hurts my heart. And I probably still do judge these people by being like they're being nasty to something. But then I have to look at it again and go, but that's their response. That's how they're handling a fear that they've got. And not everyone's able to in that moment to face a fear. And there'll be a time where you can. But it's not about being perfect. It's about seeing your rules and seeing how those rules affect your view of another. And your view of another, to hold your heart space really beautifully, your view of another needs to be, can be, as compassionate as you can make it, as compassionate as you can be on the day. If you can do that and walk away without knowing that you've held on to judgment for that, then I don't know, you just feel better. Oh, I'm not talking about the big stuff. I'm not talking about hurtful things or relationship dilemmas, because there are times when that just can't happen. But when you come back a little bit further, when you see yourself better, when you don't judge yourself as much, life shifts. And that's probably where this not ruling yourself to bits takes you, because rules are what causes dilemmas, I reckon. And again, I'm not talking about road rules or living rules that make us humans like fall into a pattern that means we're not mean to each other in some big ways. I'm just talking about how a rule can keep you in an unhappy place. Like a silly thing is, you might decide that this rule means that whenever you see a misshapen to you person wearing clothes that you don't agree that they should, if that offends you, then guess what? It's your problem, because they don't have that problem. So Wayne Dyer, I always forget, sorry Wayne, how to say his last name, but he said once a long time ago when it was still cassettes, he said, just don't look. If you don't want to know the news, don't look. If you don't want to see how that person looks, don't look. And that's all kind of meshed in with this rule thing, because we are raised with people, men should be like this or women should be like that, and it is shifting in society, but you have to shift it in your heart to make it really work for you. And I think I've probably talked enough. It's just such fun expounding ideas and sharing them, and I've had a lot of fun myself and joy in my heart sharing about rules with clients and with soul sisters, and I just wanted to share it with you today. So I do hope it's helped. I hope it's brought you some thoughts to come back around and mull over, and I'm sending you joy and love bubbles out over the airwaves to you today. Mwah. Have an awesome day wherever you are, and remember, just love yourself more. It's one step to take. I love you. Bye bye.